injected impetus to the recovery of the tourism industry. We will continue to do our work in this regard to give it another invigoration of energy. The government has, in addition, earmarked $1,095 billion, including an additional $224 million for the Tourism Commission and the $871 million for the Tourism Board to support their work in the coming 3 years. We will continue to enhance different events, including tourism and characteristics local destinations. We'll also combine these events with culture and tourism. In addition, we will also combine elements such as Chinese and Western cultures, pop culture, wine and dine, outskirt explorations, active sports. We will also dovetail new trends and promote a city walk and various immersive itineraries to cater for different interests. We'll also have different combinations of products. The Tourism Board as well as the Tourism Commission will revamp the Symphony of Lights during the time when it's being revamped. There will be pyrotechnic and drone shows. Pyrotechnic and drone shows incur a lower cost, and it will also enhance visitor experience and keep them in Hong Kong. We'll continue to enrich our tourism resources by launching more new products and new experience. That includes City in Time and the first phase of improvement of hiking trails. That includes improving the facilities in the Hong Kong Wetland Park and to study developing Pak Tam Chung into a green tourism hub. On top of that, we will improve the waterfront facilities at Lei Yu Mun. In turn, this will increase demand for retail, consumption, catering, and transport. External publicity. We will continue to launch the Hong Kong brand for different visitor groups. We'll also work with the Greater Bay Area to launch multi-destination travel. We have support schemes, say for example, support schemes for overseas public publicity, as well as support for practitioners to join local and overseas tourism expo to promote cooperation. The Tourism Board will launch a campaign and to enhance the quality tourism services scheme. There will be a new series of publicity campaign, including reality shows on TV and also a commendation scheme for outstanding frontline staff so that everyone will work together to promote Hong Kong as a city of hospitality. The budget announced that starting from the 1st of January 2025, there will be the resumption of a 3% hotel accommodation tax. This will bring $1.1 billion in revenue to the government, but it will not affect the livelihoods of general public. The additional hotel tax will only account for less than 1% of the overall spending of overnight visitors. This measure will be launched on the 1st of January next year to give more time for the sector to make preparation. The Bureau will continue to launch various mega events apart from the Mega Arts and Cultural Events Fund and the M-Mark system and support packages. There are also subsidy for characteristics local tourism. I will participate in the Mega Event Coordination Group headed by the Deputy Financial Secretary. My capacity will be the Deputy Head. The group will promote publicity and coordination. Under the budget, there will be $100 million earmarked for the promotion of mega events in the coming 3 years. This will also create the ambience for Hong Kong people to enjoy these mega events as well. Well, culture, arts and creative industry is high value adding and also a different type of economic development. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will also inject funding to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create Hong Kong, to create Hong Kong as a city of hospitality, and to promote the development of the tourism industry. We will inject funding to create to the Film Development Fund and the Create Smart initiatives. They will receive altogether $1.4 billion to the Film Development Fund and the $2.9 billion into Create Smart Industries. We will also, starting from this year, organize the Hong Kong Fashion Design Week. We will gather together different events so that fashion designers will come together to build the Hong Kong fashion brand so that the world will know about us. In October this year, we will launch the first Hong Kong Performing Arts Expo as well as the fourth Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area Culture and Arts Festival. The former will provide a platform for performers in Hong Kong and the mainland and give them business opportunities. The latter will be held after the Performing Arts Expo. This will showcase various events and art pieces to promote cooperation. We also would like to promote long-standing shows. We will launch the Signature Performing Arts Program scheme. The Bureau will work out the actual details in the first half of this year, including funding mode as well as a selection process. That's all from me. I will give the floor to the Acting Secretary before I answer questions.
Good morning, members of the public, friends from the media. I will introduce the measures under the CEDB covered in the Budget 2024-25. First of all, on supporting small and medium enterprises, SMEs. SMEs are very important to the economic development of Hong Kong. Taking into account the continued instability of the global economy and the practical needs of SMEs, the government will continue to implement various measures to assist SMEs in coping with the capital flow problem, opening up markets, and expediting upgrading and transformation. On helping SMEs with capital flow problems, the government has been enhancing the SME Financing Guarantee Scheme. As at the end of January 2024, loan of $272 billion has been approved, benefiting over 61,000 enterprises and over 770,000 employees. We propose extending the application period for the 80% and 90% guarantee products under the scheme for 2 years to the end of March 2026. The total guaranteed commitment under the scheme will increase further by a total of $10 billion to $290 billion in total. The government has also enhanced Bud Fund for a number of times, including increasing the cumulative funding ceiling per enterprise and streamlining application procedures. As at the end of January 2024, a total of $4.5 billion has been approved, benefiting over 5,100 enterprises and 56,000 employees. We propose further injecting $500 million, bringing the total to $7 billion into the fund to help SMEs boost their competitiveness and tap into mainland and overseas market. E-commerce Easy, as set out in the policy address, will also be launched this July. It will provide support of up to $1 million per enterprise for implementing e-commerce projects in the mainland out of the ceiling of $7 million. On International Trade Center, the government has been expanding Hong Kong's economic and trade network overseas and considers setting up economic and trade offices, ETOs, and consultant offices in emerging markets depending on their potential. This will help local enterprises identify new markets for business growth and attract foreign investors to establish presence in Hong Kong. To strengthen our economic and trade relations with the Middle East, the government is conducting negotiations with Saudi Arabia on an Investment Promotion and Protection Agreement, IPPA, and considering establishing an ETO in Riyadh after setting up one in Dubai in 2021. In light of the immense economic potential of BNR countries, Invest Hong Kong will continue to set up consultant offices in BNR countries, following the ones in Izmir, Turkey, and Cairo, Egypt. Meanwhile, Hong Kong has concluded the IPPA negotiations with Bahrain and will soon sign a comprehensive double taxation agreement with it. ASEAN is another priority strategic partner. After setting up ETOs in Singapore, Jakarta, and Bangkok, the government is considering setting up one in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, thereby redoubling efforts to attract enterprises and investment as well as developing local economy. As for other markets, we are negotiating a free trade agreement FTA with Peru and an IPPA with Bangladesh. The Hong Kong Trade Development Council, Hong Kong TDC, has a total of 50 offices around the world. Hong Kong TDC will continue to expand its network and add 2 more consultant offices in BNR countries and strengthen trade promotional efforts in emerging countries. On top of expanding our local economic and trade network, we strive to develop Hong Kong into a multinational supply chain management center. The international trade landscape is in a constant state of flux. In recent times, Hong Kong's total exports have seen their share of the Europe and US markets decline, while our exports to developing countries such as those in ASEAN and the Middle East is on the rise. Meanwhile, from the perspective of cost, stability of the supply of raw materials, and geopolitics, mainland manufacturing enterprises are increasingly using production capabilities both at home and abroad as multinational supply chains for manufacturing products to be exported to overseas markets. Hong Kong should seize the opportunities arising from these changes. Riding on the trend of mainland manufacturing enterprises extending their production supply chains abroad, we aim at developing Hong Kong into a multinational supply chain management center. As a premier financial and commercial center in the region, Hong Kong has a capacity to offer full-fledged and comprehensive professional support services to enterprises in order to meet their overseas business need. These services are of the utmost importance to enterprises seeking to go global. Hong Kong is their best partner. Hong Kong TDC will target the needs of these mainland enterprises and through different schemes provide consulting services covering business operations, production and supply chain solution, as well as market information. All these help support mainland enterprises based in Hong Kong to establish a foothold in Belt and Road countries. Mainland enterprises with operations in Hong Kong can also utilize various services provided by the Hong Kong Export Credit Insurance Corporation, including export credit insurance, surveys on buyers. The commercial data interchange launched earlier by the Hong Kong MA and its project mBridge allow enterprises to apply trade financing and cross-border settlement services at a lower cost and with higher efficiency. Hong Kong's business sector possesses rich knowledge and profound experience in managing multinational supply chains as well as handling compliance, labor protection, and so on. We will facilitate collaboration between different organizations and industry stakeholders to provide ESG training to mainland enterprises seeking to expand their reach to overseas market. This will help them build goodwill with business partners. CEDB will coordinate with Team Hong Kong organizations to study relevant details, including the establishment of a trade single window to provide one-stop services for enterprises. Invest Hong Kong will also step up efforts to attract mainland manufacturing enterprises to set up offices in Hong Kong to serve as headquarters for managing their offshore trading. A series of investment events will also be sponsored and held to provide the latest information about the business environment in Hong Kong, promoting Hong Kong's distinctive advantages of enjoying our nation's strong support and being closely connected to the world under one country, two systems. Turning to Regional Intellectual Property Trading Center. Under the National 14th Five-Year Plan, the government proactively adopts a multi-pronged approach to cement Hong Kong's status as a regional IP trading center. Facilitating IP trading will help Hong Kong develop towards high value, innovation, and high quality. Producing synergy as Hong Kong establishes an international innovation and technology center and develops itself into an East-Meets-West center for international cultural exchange. The government will also introduce into the Legislative Council in the first half of 2024 a proposal to amend the Inland Revenue Ordinance in order to implement the patent box tax incentive, which will reduce substantially the tax rate for profits derived from qualifying IP, mainly patents, to 5%. This incentive aims to encourage enterprises to devote more resources to R&D and conduct commercialization transactions making use of patents and other IP protections. Supporting researchers and innovators' use of the IP system to facilitate R&D in innovation technology transfer, and commercialization is indispensable to an innovation and technology ecosystem. Through partaking in World Intellectual Property Organization WIPO projects, our country has already set up over 100 WIPO Technology and Innovation Support Centers TISC in the mainland. We are also proactively planning to set up one such center in Hong Kong to better integrate into the national development. This center will focus on providing specialized services such as patent search and analysis for the protection of scientific research results and enhanced support to the INT sector, while promoting IP trading at the same time. The center will also help nurture local INT talents equipped with expertise in patent. To this end, the government has set aside $45 million to support Hong Kong TDC in setting up this center and support its operation in the first 3 years. It will commence operation next year at the earliest. On grooming patent talents, the government will allocate an additional funding of about $12 million in total to the IPD Intellectual Property Department over the next 3 years to explore with stakeholders in preparing for the introduction of regulatory arrangements for local patent agent services. Our aim is to enhance the professionalism and support the development of the original grant patent system. The government will also continue to strengthen and enlarge its patent examiner team and enhance its substantive examination capability in order to acquire institutional autonomy in conducting substantive patent examination in 2030. Last of all, on Belt and Road Initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative promulgated by our country has entered a second golden decade. Hong Kong will continue to give full play to its role as a functional platform for the BNR. To this end, we will actively participate in and contribute to fostering high-quality development, especially in green development as well as innovation and technology. We will fully seize these opportunities and continue to make good use of our diversified professional services in line with international standards as well as our status as an international center in finance, shipping, and trade, fully in alignment with national strategies towards high-quality development. The previous ABNR summits have become the largest and the most important international trade and commerce investment platform that promotes BNR cooperation among enterprises in Hong Kong and the mainland and abroad. They have earned our country's recognition. This September, CEDB will continue to host the 9th Belt and Road Summit and also the 1st Belt and Road Festival. It will promote collaboration with BNR countries in a wide range of areas, including trade and investment, technology, arts and culture, and talent exchange. This festival will also showcase the fruit of community exchanges and will facilitate people-to-people exchanges and collaboration. Besides, more outbound missions will be organized. In the first half of 2024, the Ministry of Commerce will lead a delegation to the Middle East and Central Asia and plan to organize small group tours to ASEAN countries with the relevant departments. There will also be visits to the mainland for enterprises of BNR countries which are operating in Hong Kong to explore business opportunities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Now the floor is open for questions. Please identify your media outlet. Keep your number of questions to no more than 2. They will be about the budget initiatives. The lady in white at the front. I'm from Hong Kong Economic Times. A question for the CSTB. We've spoken to the trade. If there are pyrotechnic and drone shows, hopefully there will be follow-on events to keep visitors spending. Do you have such arrangements? The government proposed to resume the hotel accommodation tax. This actually runs counter to the government policy to attract visitors? Do you have any ways to offset the impact on visitors as a result from the hotel accommodation tax? It was mentioned in the policy address that there will be pyrotechnic and drone shows every month. We can't rely on monthly shows to revive our tourism industry. There are a lot of quality destinations and events in Hong Kong, and these will be the major attractions. In our design of the pyrotechnic and drone shows, we will take into account supporting measures tying with festivals and mega events. Say, for example, during Christmas or during mega events, maybe we will add pyrotechnic and drone shows. This will further enhance visitor experience. This will be an attraction for visitors. It is very important to coordinate the different parts of an event. We'll do our best. When there are events and shows, we will think about whether we can tie them up with retail, F&B, and other industries. We are promoting Art at March. We have asked stakeholders to talk to us. What we would like to do is that when these mega events are launched, perhaps under their own field, there will be special deals for meals, packages, or other attractive promotions. So our work will continue in terms of tying up different events or tying up events with different sectors. There will be more details later. The hotel accommodation tax. We do need to cut costs and increase sources of income. There are many initiatives floated in the budget, one of which is the hotel accommodation tax. We've made it very clear what we think. We don't want the tax to affect the general public. So this tax itself is of a minimal impact. As I said, that the tax itself accounts for less than 1% of the overall spending of overnight visitors. We don't think this will have an impact on the appeal of Hong Kong. But the tax will generate $1.1 billion for the Hong Kong government to step up our publicity campaign and organization of different events. Our initiatives to attract visitors will far outweigh the impact of the hotel accommodation tax. I'll defer to my colleague about details of the pyrotechnic and drone shows. In July last year, there was the Harbour Chill For the first time, there was a pyrotechnic show. In December, during Winterfest, in the West Kowloon area, there was a Christmas tree, and over the weekend, there was a pyrotechnic show. We have collected views. Visitors warmly welcome these events. We don't think that pyrotechnic shows alone will attract visitors, but as the Secretary said, this will enrich their experience. We've spoken to the sector. They think that the pyrotechnic shows will enhance the ambience in the evening. The sector welcomes different shows in the evening to enrich visitors' experience. There would be tours, watching these shows, and businesses around the location where there are shows pick up. What we're thinking is how to regularize this. We think that pyrotechnic shows is an appropriate way because of its lower cost than firework. Also, we are of the view that drone shows are getting more and more popular. The government is considering how to enhance the various facilities and events. We want to make better use of the view along the harbor. The Symphony of Lights has been in place for quite a number of years. We would like to enhance it. And in the time when we're considering revamping the show, we want to launch pyrotechnic and drone shows. But of course, if the shows are going to be regular, we need to be innovative and creative. We will do our best to enhance experience of Hong Kong people and visitors. We've seen a large number of visitors coming to Hong Kong over the Chinese New Year. The number has reached the same level as that in 2018. It's not something that is a pleasant surprise to us. Hong Kong is where the East meets the West. During the Chinese New Year, you see a very good ambience. So what we think is to make use of pyrotechnic shows to tie in with mega events and festivals. The technology itself is rather mature, and we've seen similar shows on the mainland. It's something that is expected from visitors, so we can enhance our work in this regard. This will also further promote Hong Kong. The lady at the back. I'm from ... News. I would like to ask Mr. Yang. The funding allocation has dropped by 3.2% on tourism compared to last year. And there was an increase in funding by 3.2% for certain groups. Why? Are you confident that Hong Kong will once again have a golden period for our film industry?
Thank you. On the detailed figures, we have investment in some fund. In this budget or in the policy address, we have injected into the Film Development Fund, the Create Smart initiative, a total of $4.2 billion. So you can see a larger amount of expense in this regard. For one-off injection or investment, On art, creative industry, there is sizable investment as well. We need to make internal adjustments. As I said, we need to cut costs and increase revenue. So, in the coming few years, there will be 1% of adjustment or reduction in our expenses. Overall, in culture, film, cultural industry, or creative industry, we are rendering greater support to these industries in the future. The lady in the yellow jacket. Good morning, I'm from Hong Kong 01. On the WKCDA, there's an operational deficit. Mr. Tong in an interview said that in June this year, a decision would have to be made. When can the administration devise a proposal to the fiscal deficit of the WKCDA? Can the WKCDA decide to sell a parcel of land, or does the administration have any other proposal? Well, your question is not relevant to the budget. Let us take another question. The one in green. I'm from RTHK on pyrotechnics, which will be held next month. There will be a theme. What about the details such as location, theme, any extension arrangements about border control points? On which festive occasions will you hold these pyrotechnic and drone shows? What is the economic benefit that will be brought to Hong Kong? There are quite many of these shows on the mainland. If these shows are not innovative, how can you attract mainland tourists to come to Hong Kong? Well, I will answer your question in brief, and I will invite the Executive Director of the Hong Kong TB to give you more details. We've spent longer time to explain, as I understand people are interested in this show. As I said, pyrotechnics and drones enrich the overall experience of tourists in Hong Kong. We don't simply rely on the drone shows or pyrotechnic shows to attract a great number of tourists to come to Hong Kong just for these shows. Rather, we have a lot of good tourist attractions. We have Victoria Harbour to attract tourists. These can make them stay for one more night, or they can have dinner before they leave. This can also attract them. This will also enrich the overall travel experience in Hong Kong. Tourists will find one more attraction in Hong Kong, and this can liven up their travel experience. On the overall economic benefit, it's difficult to simply take into account one single event. This is not a paid item. It is difficult to draw any conclusion in this regard. Instead, the overall visitor experience is enriched. It will also drive the economic activities in addition to this show. It goes a long way towards attracting more tourists to come to Hong Kong. Mr. Chang from Hong Kong TB, your question is exactly one of the challenges. We need to be innovative. We have held a dozen or so these shows last year. So how can we enrich visitors' experience? This is our challenge, and we are proactively working on it. Regarding when we can start holding these shows, as the Financial Secretary said, starting from the second quarter, that is in May or June, it's probably the time we will start these shows. We'll dovetail with the Golden Week on the 1st of May, the Jiao Festival in Changchao, summer holidays in July and August, will capitalize on these festive occasions to hold these shows. These can enrich the overall travel experience of visitors. I understand there are other groups that are considering mini pyrotechnic shows or drone shows. These are good to Hong Kong. There have been a couple of questions to the CSTB. Any question for the CEDB? If no, the last question. The one at the back. The lady in black, please.
Questions from TMHK. So Hong Kong is expected to record deficits in the coming years. How do you ensure that the monthly firework or drone displays can actually attract more tourists to the city and bring back the money to Hong Kong? And also, can you tell us more of the details of the firework and the drone show, like when or are you expected it to start, and the duration, and also the venue and etc. Thank you.
I shall reply the first question, and then I leave it to the Hong Kong Tourism Board to answer your second question. On your first question, as I said, I think the pyrotechnic show and also the drone show is part and parcel of the whole total tourism or tourist experience. What we are referring to is it will be combined with other tourist attractions like other major activities, as well as at certain festival seasons, so that when tourists come to Hong Kong, they have more activities to participate and could have a fuller experience of Hong Kong. And so in the long run, I'm sure that it will bring more tourists to come to Hong Kong, will promote Hong Kong as a favorite tourist spots in all over the world. And that will, of course, in the long term, bring economic benefits to Hong Kong. On an individual cases or occasion, it's not easy to estimate, but I'm sure that with our effort, even in these drone shows or pyrotechnic, we will be able to attract at least some tourists to come over. I hand over to you.
Yes, I think the Secretary has said it all. We are very confident that, given our experiences in the past year, in organizing events, especially enhancing the experiences of our visitors, I think the important thing is that let our visitors can start experiencing, and they found there are more and more things happening in Hong Kong that are very favorable for their visits. That would create, a word of mouth, and more people would then come to Hong Kong. I think the important thing I would like to emphasize is we are giving also the opportunity for our trade partners, whether it's travel tourism, and also dining sectors. There are more to offer in the evening. So I think they would also need to put in their efforts to put together more products and offerings that would be favorable. So I think that is a coordinated effort for everyone. Thank you.
好，最後 OK。
We are now how we can work it better, as I have mentioned or spoken in the Chinese version, that we need to carefully consider and curate. I think the important thing is about curating, a show that could differentiate and also highlights the special features of Hong Kong.
OK, thank you。 最後咧就係
Last question. It was the West Kowloon Cultural District. Mr. Yang, it's nothing to do with the budget, but I will answer anyway. The WKCDA is a financially autonomous body. It's in charge of operating various facilities at the West Kowloon Cultural District. Their main task is to make use of the resources they have to promote the development of culture of Hong Kong. Well, when they consider the impact of finances on its operation, of course, is something that they have to do. Perhaps they need to do something special next year or the year afterwards. I think it is a responsible approach. They have made a suggestion to us. You all know about it. That is, in relation to the disposal of properties under that purview. We're still conducting studies. We hope that as soon as possible, we will be able to relate the view of the government to the authority. I really appreciate how they handle it. They're considering various options. They consider how to handle all these different scenarios. As I said, is a responsible approach. That's the end of the press conference. Thank you.